And we are now live and recording.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Contracts Committee meeting of the California State Bar. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. Sharon, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Cisneros,
Here.
Soel,
Present.
Tony,
Present.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is a call for public comment. Before we begin public comment, I would like to remind everyone that under the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act, public comments must pertain to items that are on the agenda or be related to matters that are within the jurisdiction of this agency. State Bar staff will attempt to call members of the public in the order that they appear in the attendee pool. For those who are participating by Zoom video, you should have a function for virtually raising your hand. It is a hand icon that should appear at the bottom center of your screen. And if you wish to address the board, please click on the hand icon now, and State Bar staff will call on you in the order the hands are raised. For those participating by phone, you may virtually raise your hand by pressing *9, that is the star key, then number 9. Again, doing so will alert staff that you would like to make a comment, and State Bar staff will call on you and open your microphone so that you can address the board. For those participating from a noticed location, please alert the State Bar staff member present in the room that you would like to make a comment. Due to time restrictions, we cannot allow more than 2 minutes for each speaker. Please note that staff will have an on-screen countdown timer visible to all attendees during the duration of your public comment. The timer's 2-minute countdown will begin as soon as you start your comment, and the on-screen timer will flash throughout the final 10 seconds. We do have a heavy agenda, and depending upon how many public commenters, I reserve the right to reduce the time per the State Bar's public comment policy. If any person who wants to provide public comment and is unable to do so, we invite those individuals to submit their comments in writing. Sharon, how many members of the public wishes to make public comment?
We do have one advanced sign up under the name 1470 Jennifer Davis, but I do not see their hand raised in the attendee list. I believe Trustee Soel does have a member of the public at their location.
All right, Trustee.
Yes, and I do have a member of the public here to make public comment.
Please go ahead.
How long can I?
You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay. Good afternoon, all member. Chair, State Bar closed my complaint against Attorney General and Sacramento DA office, DA Mr. Tian Ho. They closed my complaint without look into the DA case 99F08735. This is the primary evidence to prove Moon Kong On is the victim of this case, and Jun So Fong was the driver that killed my father by hit and run. Another issue is the letter that I received from State Bar of California with no name, no signature, and no title. In September 22nd, I emailed a letter to Board of Trustees to request a new letter with name, title, and signature. And also I request an internal investigation about why State Bar closed my complaint without looking into the major evidence. It has been 3 weeks. I haven't heard back from State Bar of California. So, Chair, I appreciate if you can put my case into the next Board of Trustee meeting to discuss it. And today I have a second letter to Board of Trustee, and I hand the hard copy to Mr. Slowell, and I will email a soft copy to all the Board of Trustee. Please help to uphold justice. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Silver.
You sure thing.
Thank you. I do want to ask if Vice Chair Tony has any members of the public.
Thank you for asking. There are no members of the public in my noticed location.
Thank you. Moving to the attendee list, I do see one raised hand. Benjamin Cohn, your mic has been enabled.
Hello, I know that this is a contracts meeting, but I feel that the Board of Trustees members who are present should have the opportunity to know what happened at a CBE meeting last Friday, in case they want to choose to agendize something for the November board meeting that would allow them to take action, because I'm concerned that the staff, given the outcome of the CBE deliberations, may not choose to agendize this matter on the board's agenda at any point moving forward without an affirmative request from the board itself. At its May meeting, the board seemed inclined to accept the proposition that it would be a good idea to remedy the failures to implement approved testing accommodations that were, if any, there were, that were committed by measure on the February 2025 bar exam, but the staff seemed to strong arm it into an investigation by Humro that would, even though that investigation would not allow for any decision making to happen on the same time frame as all the other issues that Measure committed for that exam for non-disabled applicants, and even though nothing would be resolved before the July bar exam, putting, even with a remedy, those victims at a permanent employment disadvantage in the short term and the long term resume gap. And even though it would mean that they would have to retake when it possibly could have been moot, there would have been no point in spending all those hundreds of thousands of dollars on that investigation or putting them through those months of uncertainty if even if the investigation validated their reports of not receiving their approved testing accommodations by Measure, there would be no remedy. Yet that's exactly what happened. The Humro report came out. It found for a significant portion of the rest of them, it found that they were not able to refute that, even though they weren't able to verify that. And the CBE took up its recommendation on a remedy and decided to do nothing for anyone. The reason being that supposedly the disabled applicants would benefit from the remedies already awarded before the Humro investigation was even commissioned. Then why commission if that was enough? The answer is it wasn't enough, because those other remedies were for other issues. Measure committed no short spectrum of issues. It was this was a remedy felt for an issue felt only by disabled applicants, and that's why it wouldn't be given to anyone else, and that's why it's still fair to give it to the disabled applicants. Please make a different decision at the board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Chair Cisneros, I do not see any more hands raised in the attendee list.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. With that, we'll close public comment. Move on to the meeting's agenda. Our first item is item 1.1, approval of the April 29th, 2025 Contracts Committee open session minutes. I'd like to ask if there are any corrections or modifications to the minutes, and if there are none, ask for a motion in a second.
I would make a motion with a comment, and the comment being appreciate that there is a record of the people that came, members of the public that came and testified at the meeting. And I appreciate that, and it's a practice I appreciate continuing. But I move to approve the April 29th open session minutes.
And I'll second.
Great. Motion by Trustee Tony, second by Trustee Sowell. Roll call vote, please.
Sowell,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Cisneros.
Aye.
With 3 ayes and 0 nays, the minutes are adopted.
Thank you. Next is item 2.2, approval of specified contracts pursuant to Business and Professions Code, section 6008.6. We will be hearing from Griselle.
Thank you, Sharon. Hi, good afternoon. So today I'd like to present the list of contracts that require your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you for your time today.
Here, Tony.
So, I have some general questions. You'll have to forgive me for asking same questions. So when we're asked to provide a approval of contracts that seem to be partial approvals. So 48,333 of the total of 193. And item number 2, 35,000, total contract of 237. So I guess my general questions, and I'm not going to read all the others, but there are several others that have that same format. I'm curious as to whether we have in the past already approved the larger contract. I'm curious, what is it special if we have about why it's valuable for us to approve separately these portions, particularly when the portions are under 50,000. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of how this appears in front of us.
Sure. Chair, I can answer that.
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I may have Aline jump in to save me on the statutory language as well.
Okay.
So each of these you have approved at some point in the past. So for those goods and services contracts that are not related to IT, when they hit that $50,000 threshold, which could have been in the first instance, or if you had a contract that was a lower dollar value, once it hit that $50,000 threshold, then it would have gone to the trustees for approval. Each of these contracts that you're seeing here have already exceeded either that $50,000 threshold or $100,000 threshold if it's an IT related contract. And that is why you're seeing these lower dollar value contracts come back to you, because with the guidance of our general counsel's office, anything based on the statute that is over that amount already is required to come back to the contracts committee in this instance, or the board, for additional authorization. So with the exception of, I believe, item 3, 7, and 9, these are all contracts that you have seen before. Those particular items are contracts that you're seeing in the first instance. The last 2, 7, and 9 are for testing related facilities for the February bar exam, and then the other is related to facilities related items for the LA office.
All right.
So I guess my question is then, let's take information technology. Once the 48,333 that we approved today has been spent down, does that mean we should expect to see the another incremental part of this contract again?
For this one, no. We are hoping this is the last one. As you may be aware, we are in the process of updating our website. And for this particular contract, because of the timeline of when we need to have our website implemented and when the license for our current website ends, that's why this one is coming before you today. For others, for example, I think looking at items 4, 5, and 6 are good examples. It's possible. And that's where we have special deputy trial counsel. They're essentially contract attorneys working for us, where OCTC cannot be involved in those cases. And depending on their workload, it's very possible that these items could come back to the board for additional funds.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Yes, go ahead, trustee Soel.
I do have a couple of questions as well on the contracts. Erica, you just referenced contracts 4, 5, and 6 are the ones that are on the list here. And I was just wondering, particularly for 5 and 6, these are especially deputy trial counsel vendors. And it seems like there are cost differences in the contracts. And is that because there are more folks in these particular firms that might be associated with that? Is that because there are different various levels of experience that are here? I guess I'm just trying to understand if folks are doing the same sort of function in the 2201 program, why there might be some differences in how they're being compensated.
Sure. So as far as the rate they are paid, it is the same rate for each of these individuals. I believe it's $250 an hour. What is different is the amount of work. So just like in OCTC, when you get a complaint, it requires a different level of involvement depending on when the case is closed, if the case is investigated, and if it goes to trial. And so what you're seeing is, no case is identical, and so there could be different workloads associated with that particular case, which is depending upon who these, some of these are individuals, as you can see, Wilson Elsler is a firm, but depending upon that, it would be a different amount of workload associated, requiring a different level of funds.
Got it. Thank you for that. That explains it. And then for contract number 2, the Columna, I think that's how you would pronounce that. Do they do all of our website work? And I guess there was a thought that sort of crossed my mind is that a function that at some point could be an in-house function, or how do we maintain or they maintain the websites, they do everything related to websites for us? I guess that's the broad question.
Sure. This is for the new website. So we are in the process of moving from our existing website into a new one. That is what this workload is associated with. It's also being done by our in-house IT team, as well as our in-house communications team, who are working very hard on this project right now. Once our new website launches, and with our current website right now, our communications team, for the most part, sometimes IT as well, is the one who is actually doing those updates. So this is a contract that would also end as well. So once our website is our new website is up and running, there will be obviously a handoff period where we will still need them. That's what you're approving today for the most part. And then thereafter would be our comms team, and then sometimes our IT team as well. All
right. Last question, and that is under the ACS Ventures one. This is for psychometrician services. It sounds like most of this is related to the February bar exam. And I guess I'm trying to figure out how much more of an iterative process on, I thought we had basically come to a solve on this. And so is this paying for, some past services, or there's still more going forward related to this?
So the reason that this is before you today is for future services. So for, current associated with the July 2025 bar exam, and then future for the October 2025 first year law students exam. The reason this is again before you today is because we used most of the funds to address the February 2025 bar exam. So that's why.
Got it. Okay. And Erica, do you know where we are in this? This seems like this is probably one of these contracts that's kind of up to. And so does this, I think similar to maybe the question that Trustee Tony asked earlier, does this take us to that up to point, or is there, because the contract obviously was bigger?
I believe this takes us to the end of this contract, at least that's the current assumption. This is currently out for bid right now. Justin and Grizel can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a formal RFP that's been issued to seek bids for a psychometrician for 2026 and beyond.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. I appreciate the answers and responses to my questions. That's what I had.
And if I could have one more comment, based on the Ann's response, $250 an hour is an extremely favorable rate for the state bar to be paying. So I want to commend, if it's the Office of General Counsel or whoever makes those contracts, that is very reasonable and a very good use of state bar funds.
Very good, thank you. If there are no more questions or comments, then we will move to a motion and a second. And is there a, there we go, there is a resolve.
I'll be happy to second after Arnie makes the
Yes,
motion.
yeah, I will move the resolution.
Second.
Thank you very much. Motion by trustee Sowell, second by trustee Tony. Sharon, roll call vote, please.
Sowell,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Cisneros.
Aye.
With 3 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries.
Very good. Well, with that, I'd like to thank everybody. I believe we have completed our agenda for this meeting. And with that, we will move to adjournment. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.